You're listening to episode number 4 of the Wise Photographer podcast. As photographers, we have a huge blessing of being able to work from home for about 90% of our job. It sounds like an amazing concept. We get to start our day whenever we want. Yoga pants are always acceptable, and makeup is never required. You get to be home with your kids, watch them grow, and make memories. You can travel if you want to, and have complete control, right? There's this overwhelming sense of freedom, as if you could accomplish anything. The flexibility of being a photographer and deciding your own schedule is extremely appealing. However, just like moving out of your parents' home, reality soon kicks in and suddenly you realize what you've gotten yourself into. First, it dawns on you the lack of accountability, i.e., not having your boss tell you what to do. This means you're going to have to make sure that you get yourself motivated to get work done. As well as missing your boss. Yes, it's possible. It's likely that you could even miss the buzzing social environment from the office. Although it might sound appealing to work from your pajamas, this could make switching on work mode a lot more difficult. Don't get me wrong, there's so many amazing things about being able to work from home, but it's important to realize that working from home does not necessarily mean an easy ride. Today, I'm sharing the best tips that I found to be more productive when working from home.
Welcome to the Wise Photographer podcast with your host, Chelsy Wise. Each week, Chelsy is bringing you the best tips and tricks to help you create a joyful, profitable, more purpose-filled photography business. Chelsy is a wife and mom of 2 who has built a thriving photography business in her tiny hometown in western North Dakota. Without further ado, here's your host, Chelsy Wise.
Being productive at home sounds like it should be easy, and it might be the first few weeks. But if we don't create some boundaries and routines that keep us going, we can end up being sidetracked or constantly running in circles chasing our own tail, not actually accomplishing anything that moves the needle. When I quit college to get married, start my business, and become a mom, I struggled a lot. I was struggling to figure out how to be a mom and a wife and a business owner all at once. I constantly felt like I was failing at everything, so I had to really break things down into simple steps and build from there. The very first thing that I did was to get my house in order. Now, I'm certainly not perfect at this whole housekeeping business, and my husband will be the very first person to testify to that. In fact, I'm recording this episode on the closet floor next to a pile of laundry that desperately needs to be washed, folded, and put away. Housework, decluttering, and basic home management were just not things that were modeled for me when I was growing up. It's something I've really had to work hard at creating routines and habits in order to keep my house in order. The first step to getting my house in order was actually to declutter. Whether we're working from a home office, the kitchen, or even the living room, if there's constantly stuff around, it's going to remind us of the household chores that'll pile up. We want to make sure that we eliminate distractions. The recent popular Marie Kondo Netflix series had everyone and their sister jumping on the decluttering bandwagon. I think it's a really great method if you can really dive deep in 4 or 5 days to declutter your entire house. But if you don't have the time to set aside to complete that method, I definitely suggest checking out the book called Decluttering at the Speed of Life, Winning the Never-Ending Battle with Your Stuff by Dana K. White. Dana's a blogger over at a blog called A Slob Comes Clean. Dana's other book, How to Manage Your Home Without Losing Your Mind, is a great one too, and I'll link both of them in the show notes. Having less stuff around my house means that I can clean up faster. Having less stuff also means that there's less things to distract me from work when it's time to get stuff done. Another part of Dana's book that I put into practice was having different themes or tasks each day for cleaning. Here are the tasks that I complete on each day of the week. On Mondays are my floor days. This means that my kitchen and my living room both get mopped, and the rest of the house gets vacuumed. We have an 80-pound golden retriever, and my in-laws who live just down the road from us just got another golden retriever puppy who's over at our house a lot. These 2 shed so much and are constantly dragging in dirt and mud from the farm and the greenhouse, especially during calving season. So, by knowing that every Monday I'll be tackling the floors, I don't worry about them the rest of the week. Even if I'm tempted to skip a week, I'll still clean them, no matter what. Tuesdays are my grocery store and errands days. So, we only have one tiny little grocery store in our town, and the closest Walmart or Target are about 80 miles away. Our local grocery store gets their trucks on Tuesday, so this is when produce is the freshest, and usually there's less people there on a Tuesday morning than, say, a Saturday afternoon or any weekday after the typical 9 to 5 shift gets done. Wednesdays are my laundry day. I try to do a load or two each day, but I get sidetracked pretty easily. And laundry will often sit in the washer for far too long and end up needing to be washed a time or two before it's actually done. So Wednesdays are set aside to catch up on laundry. My husband Justin works an 8 and 6 schedule, so he works 8 days on and 6 days off, and always works on Wednesdays. This means that I won't get pulled away from the house to help him out on the farm, and we won't be going anywhere out of town. Thursdays are my dusting and glass days. I'll be honest, this is probably the cleaning task that gets skipped the most, but it's a task that makes me feel so much more put together. Thursdays are the day that I'll take a Swiffer over the TV, wipe off those fingerprints that Grayson has left during the week on the windows as he's looking out in the yard for tractors. It's crazy how much more put together you'll feel if you actually take the time to dust weekly. Fridays are my bathroom days. Toilets get scrubbed, sinks get washed out, and counters get disinfected. I'll toss out empty shampoo bottles and take out the trash. If the floors around the toilets need to be some extra cleaning, thank you potty training to a 2.5-year-old, those will get done then too. This leaves my weekends to either spend with family and friends or, more than likely, shooting weddings in the summer. I do have a few daily tasks that are just non-negotiable, but as long as they get done each day, they take almost no time at all. Whenever I make a cup of coffee in the morning with my Keurig, I unload the dishwasher. It might take me maybe 2 minutes longer than it takes for a cup of coffee to brew, but it's so worth doing. It took me a while to find a trigger to actually make myself unload the dishwasher, but this whole waiting for coffee to brew was the perfect time to do it because I was literally standing right there anyways. My next non-negotiable task is to sweep the kitchen floor and vacuum the entryway rug. The entryway comes right into our kitchen, so this is where all the dirt from the oil field, the farm, and the greenhouse lands whenever it enters my house. By sweeping each night and running the quick cordless vacuum over the rug, I cut down on the amount of dirt, straw, and rocks that are all over my house, until Monday rolls around when it's time to deep clean the floors. Because we live around my husband's 8 to 6 schedule, and me being gone most weekends, it took me a while to figure out which tasks to place on which days, but it's been so worth figuring out so that I can have a semi-clean house any time of the day. I don't feel like I have this mounting list of things that should be done each day. We'll get right back to the podcast, but first, the sponsor for this episode, Trello for Photography. Trello for Photography is an online course that walks you through how to get the most out of Trello to organize your client workflows, keep up with your blogging schedule, and ensure that you never forget what day you're in charge of snacks for the soccer team. No matter if you're a portrait photographer, wedding photographer, offer in-person sales, or a digital only, Trello for Photography has a workflow board for you. Having an amazing workflow process that you can replicate over and over is the key to creating raging fans who are singing your name anytime someone's looking for a photographer. Inside Trello for Photography, you'll gain access to my favorite boards, including boards called the 30,000-foot view, Step into my office, and my most used board, My Week. The My Week board actually is where you're going to plan everything that needs to get done each and every day of the week. It's seriously the only way I'm able to keep up with my business, kids, and the housework. You'll gain access to videos walking you through how to use each and every board. Best of all, you get complete lifetime access to boards and updates. Just copy them to your account and start saving time and actually getting things done. Never question whether or not you ordered that album for that wedding client or spend hours searching for a PIN number for a gallery that someone forgot. Best of news, Trello for Photography is just $29. You spend more than that on a single manicure. To find out more and enroll, head over to TrelloForPhotography.com. That's TRELLOFOR photography.com. Now that we've tackled decluttering and cleaning, it's time to talk about some stuff that directly relates to work. This next step is a little bit more fun, and this is creating a home office. Creating a home office has so many benefits. Having a home office can help reduce distractions from the rest of the house. It can also be a source of creativity for you. I recently converted our spare bedroom into my own home office. I've got clean white walls, black sticky notes, warm wood tones, and tons of plants. Have I mentioned to you that I have somehow turned into the crazy plant lady? Serious, guys. I've got 4 fiddle-leaf fig trees, tons of succulents, 4 pothos vines, and a giant snake plant. We also have a commercial greenhouse in our backyard that my mother-in-law has run for like 33 years, but that's a story for another day. My new home office is a space for me to close the door and get work done. Store all my photography gear, complete with a battery charging station. It also is just across the hall from my son Grayson's room, which means I can hear him when he wakes up from his nap. I love having a space where I can store all my gear. When I walk into it, I know it's time to get work done. There's also a financial benefit of having a home office. The IRS offers tax deductions for those who use a portion of their home specifically for business purposes. Plus, having a home office is quite a bit cheaper than leasing an office space or a co-working space on a monthly basis. Everything in your office should be dedicated and organized to one purpose without distraction. I also think that you should physically be able to close the door on work when you're done for the day. I'll link to the blog post below where I shared my office makeover and the links to my favorite black sticky notes. My next tip for staying productive when working at home is to get ready for the day. It can be so tempting to think that working from home means sitting around in your pajamas with the television on in the background, but it's just not true. Just like an office setting, you should set yourself up for success when working from home. Get ready as if you were going into the office. The number one thing that has increased my productivity at work and made me a better mom is starting a morning routine. I'll share all about my morning routine in an upcoming episode, so be on the lookout for that. But I want to go ahead and share some ways that you can start crafting your perfect routine now. The first step is to decide what areas of your life that you want to focus on each morning. Next, you can brainstorm some action items for each of those areas. Finally, you need to determine what time you need to wake up. So, decide what time you need to be done with your morning routine and work backwards from there. The night before, you want to prepare. Pick out a workout video or lay out clothes or even program your coffee pot. The last one is the hardest, and that is waking up without hitting the snooze button. The first few mornings, this can be so hard, but soon you'll see and feel how much better a morning routine can make you, and it gets easier, I promise. Here are the categories that I've chosen to build my morning routine around. Something that challenges me physically, something that improves my faith, something to help out with stress, my health, and my business are also 2 items that I work on as well. The next step to being more productive is to set your schedule. No matter if you work from home sporadically, a few days a week, or all the time, you need to plan out what your daily schedule is. Establish a start time, a midday break point, and what time you're going to clock out for the day. I use the program Trello to plan out my daily tasks for both work and life each day. I actually created a course which is the sponsor of this episode, Trello for Photography. It's an online course that walks you through how to use Trello as a photographer, and you can find out more at trelloforphotography.com. One of my favorite boards that I use the most in Trello is a board called My Week. This is where I track everything from all my business tasks to when I'm in charge of snacks for school. I love the flexibility that comes with Trello because it's a very visual system, which is something that my creative brain craves. I also love that I can easily restructure things if my day gets all thrown out of whack because a tractor broke down and I need to run to town for parts. Trello is a free program, and there's an option to upgrade if you need to, but you can do so much with the free version. Trello is essentially a mashup of Pinterest and Evernote. You can create boards, and on the boards you have lists. Within the list you have cards. You can actually think of each card as like an index card, where you write something on the back, and when you click on the card, it's like flipping the card over to see what's on the back. On the back, you can have checklists, attach documents, or even add links. I use Trello to track my day-to-day tasks, but I also use it to track my client workflows. This is where I've built a workflow that ensures each client gets the best possible client experience I can offer, and I can duplicate it over and over again. Wedding photography can be a long process, with couples booking months to even a year in advance, and it's so easy for things to fall through the cracks if you're not tracking things efficiently. Now that we've eliminated household cleaning, decluttering, started our morning routine, and planned out exactly what tasks need to be accomplished each day, it's time to sit down and do the work. As we finally sit down, it can be so tempting to just power through all the tasks without a break. It can be so nice to have a long list of things marked off our to-do list, but it can easily leave us feeling burnt out. Even if we're engaged and enjoying our work, we can still feel fried from too much stress and too many hours on the job. Burnout is one area in life that can easily scorch other areas as well. In Brendon Burchard's book, The High Performance Habits, he shares that burnout is just a feeling of fatigue, and it has a simple fix. We can give ourselves a short mental and physical refresh each hour and can dramatically improve how we feel. He goes on to share that our brains need more downtime than we think to process information, recover, and deal with life so that we can be more productive. He suggests taking intermittent breaks throughout the day. If we want to feel more efficient, energized, creative, and effective at work and still leave enough oomph left over for the life part, it's ideal for us to stop and give our mind a break every 45 to 60 minutes. Luckily, for those of us who work from home, there are great things that we can do during these little breaks, like switching the laundry from the washer to the dryer, sweeping the kitchen floor, or vacuuming that entryway rug. Achievers will often brush this off and try and power through hours of work without even looking up from the computer. But that is exactly why we end up feeling wiped out whenever we've finished up with work and feel like our work-life balance is completely out of whack. By slowing down, taking a break every once in a while, we can work faster and even have more time for other things in our life. A commonly used framework for this is called the Pomodoro technique. This is a time management method that was developed back in the late 1980s. The technique uses a timer to break down work into intervals, traditionally 25 minutes in length, separated by 2 to 3 minute breaks. Every 4 blocks of work, you take a little bit longer break. There's tons of apps specifically designed for this, but you can also use your kitchen timer or the timer on your phone. Now that we've eliminated household distractions, decided on what we're going to work on, and set a timer to take a break, it's time to make sure that we are getting the most out of that block of time. Say you're sitting down to edit a session. Your phone dings with a notification that you've been tagged in a post on Instagram. Well, of course you have to go check it out. The next thing you know, your timer to take a break is going off and you haven't edited a single photo because you've been sucked down the Instagram hole. My next tip for staying productive is to shut off notifications on everything. Our phones and apps are designed to keep us on them. Each time we hear a ping or a ding on our phones, our brains gets a hit of dopamine, much like a slot machine does to keep someone gambling for hours on end. Companies like Facebook and Instagram need you to stay on their platforms so they can show their investors how much growth and active users they have each day. There's nothing wrong with surfing Facebook or Instagram, but we want to make sure that we're doing it at times that we set aside to do it, not whenever the app thinks you should be doing it. So, to shut off notifications, you can go to the settings in your phone and click on notifications. You'll be amazed how many apps are trying to get your attention each day. You can do the same on your computer as well. You can shut off all the little banners, the pop-ups, and even the little red numbers that are showing how many emails you have unread. You can shut all of those off. All right, finally, my last step. One of the most important aspects for a healthy work-from-home routine is to create boundaries. It's one of the most important, yet often overlooked, and that is logging off for the day. And that's not just your laptop. This is where having a physical home office can come in handy, where you can literally shut the door on work for the day. If you have a last-minute idea come up after office hours, just jot it down and come back tomorrow. Just because we have access to work anytime doesn't mean that we should be logged in 24/7. Allow yourself to have downtime. Create a work-life balance. We all need it, no matter where we're working from. That's it, my friends. My best tips for being productive and working from home. Did I leave anything out? Head over to my Instagram and let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you would add to this list. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Wise Photographer podcast. Dive into the show's notes for this episode and all past episodes at www.thewisephotographer.com. If you loved the show, share it with a friend. Thanks for tuning in, you Wise Photographer you.